What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Blazers Uprise Postgame show presented by BetUS and Manta Sleep Mask. The Blazers lose today 126-107 to the New Orleans Pelicans. We're going to break it down with maybe our shortest postgame stream ever because the goal is to go less than an hour. But we're already over 5 minutes into this thing because I couldn't get my mic to connect. That's why I went black screen there for a little bit. But I saved the stream. We didn't have to make a new link, which is great. And we're going to recap this game. We're going to talk about Delano Banton's performance, especially in the first half, 18 points. But the Blazers' defense just did not hold serve. And despite shooting well from the field, the Blazers turn over the ball. Can't take care of the ball. And that was basically the difference in this game. Both teams shot well from the field. Both teams shot decently from the three-point line. But the Blazers could not take care of the ball as the Pelicans take care of business. Eric, how's it going, bro? How's it going?
Oh, not too bad. I managed to watch the whole game. You were focused on college basketball, which is a good day to do so. Mm-hmm. And we got the Ducks versus the Colorado Buffaloes for the Pac-12, the last Pac-12 championship. That should be a good game. I thought this game was pretty entertaining the first half. Fun game, lots of scoring, lots of good performances. And then Blazers kind of ran out of gas and couldn't score in the second half.
Yeah. Kind of the story of their season against good teams. They've had impressive halves and then gotten dominated in them, and that happened again today. Yeah, man, I got my laptop to my right. I got my phone in front of me. I got Oregon on my laptop to the right. I got NC State versus North Carolina on my phone, and I got the stream on my computer. It's college basketball season. College basketball season selection Sunday tomorrow. Oregon has to win to get in, by the way. So it's going to be interesting to see if they can pull this off. But, in this game, just quick breakdown, Tankathon, maybe talk a couple prospects, and that's what we're going to do. Cody Williams is back for Chicago, which is awesome, because I wanted to watch him play a little bit more. He's donning the face mask, and he just turned it
Colorado?
over. Yeah.
You said Chicago.
Oh, Colorado. Yeah, I meant why did I say Chicago? That doesn't
make
sense.
Chicago. That's what I was wondering.
Yeah, no. I guess maybe he might be going to Chicago. Who knows? Although Chicago won today, or actually they're up 22 in the third against Washington. So if they win, Golden State might lose. They could gain a game on Golden State. This was almost a perfect tanking day. Charlotte was actually competitive against Philadelphia. If they could have pulled that off, it could have been a perfect tanking day for the Blazers. But Ayton looks good again. 10 for 13, shoots a 3 again, doesn't make it. 0 for 1. Gets 8 rebounds on the game. Couple of assists, 20 points for him. Delano Banton, though, 10 for 24 for 8 from 3. Talked about how he needed to shoot better from 2. He shot 50% from 2, was 6 for 12 inside the arc. Also had 6 assists, but 5 turnovers. Would like to see him clean it up a little bit. And then off the bench, Scoot Henderson has an efficient day, 5 for 6 inside the arc, 0 for 2 from behind the arc. Good for a 5 for 8 day shooting from the field. Jabari Walker, he's been banged up lately, but he plays in this one. 3 for 6. Hits a couple of threes as well, which was nice to see from him. Chris Murray gets the start once again. Does some solid things, Eric. 5 rebounds, 4 assists. Doesn't score. Doesn't score. 0 for 4 from the field, 0 for 2 from 3. Camara continues to start as well, 11 points, 6 rebounds for him, 3 blocks. Scoot on a minutes restriction again, apparently, so I don't really know what their plan is with his minutes over the rest of the season, but even though it's not a back-to-back, he was on a minutes restriction again, so that was kind of curious. Yeah, at least I think that's what was reported, and that's why he didn't start, although if he never starts, it's always going to be minutes restriction. You know what I mean? Like, if they don't want to start him after what was leaked earlier in the season, that they're going to start him for the rest of the season, then it's probably going to be excused away with minutes restriction. I don't, who knows what the deal was.
I thought they said during the game that he wasn't on one.
I thought I saw a Hiken tweet that said he was, so I don't know. I could be wrong, but
that might be true. I just thought I heard during the game that he wasn't on a minutes restriction.
No, it was Casey Holdall 4 hours ago. So, before the game said Scoot is on a minutes restriction. So.
Great.
Yeah. Not sure what the deal is, but.
At the end, they also alluded to the fact that they're trying to get Shaedon Sharpe back this season to integrate him back into the team a little bit. I don't see the point in that. But
Who do you think is more likely to return, Sharp or Brogdon?
ooh, that's a good question. Uh, uh, man, I think it might be Sharp, even though I don't think he's going to play this year.
Yeah.
I don't think either's going to play this year, but
Yeah.
yeah, I think it might be Sharp, which is weird to say, but I don't know why you just wouldn't give him the whole offseason to make sure that his core is fine before he plays again.
Now we got to give the young guys reps, and we got to see how Sharp looks like with Scoot and Ant. Now that
Right.
Sharp's hurt, now that's when we have to see it.
Yeah.
It's just kind of funny how that works. Man, Oregon getting smoked right now, down 9. Tristan Da Silva hits a 3. Let's go rapid fire, just recapping players. I'll just kind of let you speak on players. I'm not going to say too much, and we can efficiently do this thing. Let's just start with the leading scorer. Banton tonight, 28 points, 6 assists, 5 boards. What'd you think of him?
He was incredible outside the turnovers and the tunnel vision, I guess. Really good. Although he scored his 28th point, felt like pretty early in the third quarter and then didn't score again. But he looked. I couldn't argue with this during the game. Calabro and Banton were or Calabro and Hurd were talking about if you had no idea who was like the good players on each team, and you just saw this game and had to like pick the best players from this game, like on each team. They were saying that a lot of people might take Banton like second or third based on how he was playing in this one.
Yeah, but an interesting thing with that as well, though, is who the best players are on the team. They're scouted like the best players. So at some point, defenses might start scouting Delano Banton. I think he's playing well enough to be a part of the opposing game plan, which he's never been before. And normally there's an adjustment period that comes with that because defenses will start to learn your tendencies, start to actually plan to take them away. And it's you see young players. Like, they'll have a really good stretch, right? And then they'll hit a wall. And I think part of that wall, some people call it the rookie wall. Sometimes it's the, second-year slump, sophomore slump, whatever. A lot of times I think that wall is just simply defenses starting to game plan for you more. So it'll be interesting to see if defenses start to do that with Banton because he's playing well enough and there's not many other guys on this team you got a game plan for. And if Banton is still playing at a decent level or struggling. But yeah, this game was great. 10 for 20. I mean, I said it last game. If he continues to hit threes, that's phenomenal. It makes everything else easier. He's hit threes in Portland, shooting around 40%, but he's shooting 44% from 2. That's not good enough. He has to be more efficient. He got that up to 50 today. That's better. And make better use of his playmaking skills. 6 assists. He just got to take care of the ball. 42 minutes today. Eric, what do you think of that? Because I think it's kind of blasphemous in a 19-point loss to be playing somebody 42 minutes.
Yeah, I mean,
especially when there's garbage time.
Yeah, I don't. I don't have a problem with it if being banned. He probably played too much, but that's part. Because I was thinking about this watching the game. It's like DeAndre, I think, played the whole third quarter, and usually plays a whole quarter at a time. It's the Dame Lillard rotation,
Mm-hmm.
And I just kept thinking during this game as they struggled a little bit at the end of quarters and stuff, would it be better for some of these guys to play 7-8 minute shifts and then take a little break and then come back in? Do you have to play them 12 minutes at a time? And if you come off the bench and are playing well, sometimes you're in there for a whole quarter too. It's just mixed into 2 different quarters. And so, yeah, I kept wondering during this game if maybe Chauncey should try to change the minutes or the way players play minutes, just to give them a little bit more break and maybe can go a little harder in their shifts and not tire out as much towards the end of them.
Yeah, I would love to put minutes restrictions on all the starters. Scoot has these minutes restrictions. I would love to put a 36-minute restriction on starters right now because it's a lost season. And garbage time started with about 2 minutes left. That's when starters get subbed out, Ayton, Simons, etc., Banton included, right? Mm-hmm. So Ayton plays 38 minutes, and that's with 2 minutes of garbage time that he would have played if it was a little bit closer, right? It's like you probably shouldn't be playing Ayton 40 minutes. I know he's been generally healthy during his career, but 40 minutes in a lost season in a game that you lose, by double digits is kind of ludicrous, like pushing that. That's what Chauncey would have played him if it was a little closer. So I think we got to rein it back just a little bit, right? Like most players in the league on a season, the best players will average 36 minutes a game, and anything above that is a little extra. And sometimes we'll see certain coaches, Nick Nurse, Tom Thibodeau being the two most notorious ones, play guys a little above that, 37, 38 minutes at times. And I would like to get the minutes down a little bit more in a lost season like this. I don't like playing guys 38, 40, 42 minutes in losses.
Yeah, I definitely think they should play into the 30s, but yeah, not more than 36. I agree with that.
Yeah, just manage it. It's a lost season, especially with some of the vets that you know what they have, like what they're gonna be. So
I saw an interesting, kind of back and forth on Twitter during the game about could the Blazers trying to make Banton have some trade value going into the summer. And someone on Twitter suggested that they could potentially get a first-round pick for him this summer. No. And it's the same type of people who said we could get a first for Brogdon, and then after we didn't trade him said, oh, there were no good offers, and now they're saying, oh, what about all these offers we're going to get for Banton,
Yeah. Come on. I mean, Skylar Mays looked phenomenal in like 6 tanking garbage time games last year for the Blazers, and Delano Banton's better, but we cut Skylar Mays this season for Ashton Higgins, I guess, in the long term. No team is going to trade for a guy because he's putting up numbers on a depleted garbage Blazer team. No good team is going to trade a first-round pick. I'd be shocked. I'll say I'm wrong if it happens, but what good team is going to trade a first-round pick for a guy that hasn't proven anything outside of putting up good numbers while a team is like quasi-tanking? Doesn't make sense to me. So I don't think that's the case.
That's the other part about it's not just defensive attention. The other thing is too, and I think this was the case for Matisse as well. There's no expectations. You don't have to play well every night to win games and stuff because we're losing every game and people know, or just about every game, and people know we're losing. So you can play a lot freer in a situation where if you make a mistake, it's not costing your team a game or anything like that. I talked about this a lot last year with young players playing with Dame. Sometimes young players aren't they're not really sure of what to do if they get the ball. Like, should they shoot it, or what happens if I miss a 3 and lose this game for Dame, And so I think when you're playing on a team that's obviously not going to make the playoffs and wins don't really matter from here on out, it is a little easier to just play your game. And I think Ayton's going through a little bit of that too, I think it's nice for him not to have any sort of team expectations, and then he can talk in a post-game press conference about his individual play. There's one thing I thought about during that interview is there's nothing about how the team is doing, it's all about me. And so all these players are just, kind of playing for themselves right now. And that's not necessarily good or bad. It's hard to tell if that can be indicative of what they'd be like in an actual winning situation, contributing to a winning team.
Well, also he's getting a lot of touches that he wouldn't get on a better team with
Right.
better players that are going to demand the ball more than the players on this team. So, yeah, like we gotta not get carried away with ourselves. I mean, the people, you know what people are doing? They're just getting carried away with themselves in March again with a tanking Blazer lottery team, just like they did when. We got Josh Hart and he looked phenomenal in the 4-game winning streak before the All-Star break though. But it's easy to overreact to good player performances on a bad team, and I want to pump the brakes on that a little bit.
Yeah. By the way, I just saw the Grizzlies score. Come on, beat OKC. Give us some more space. Yeah.
Ant today. 9 for 18, 5 for 10 from 3, decently efficient game, only gets to the line 2 times, but 25 points, 8 assists. He also had 5 turnovers, so, just contributed to the turnover issues that screwed over this team. 19 turnovers on the game for the Blazers. They shot 50% from the field, 36% from 3, 92% from the line, got 12 free throws, made 11. But the turnover is not good. But still, 8 assists. Like, he's been having a lot of 7, 8 assist games to go along with more efficient scoring than earlier in February, around the All-Star break when he was kind of struggling. So it's good to see him score efficiently, good to see him rack up assists.
Yeah, he was kind of okay in this game. Both him and Scoot got Grand Theft Alvarado'd in the backcourt. Anthony had the inbound pass get tipped off his foot, and Scoot turned around and Alvarado just ripped it out of his hands. So yeah, you can't be doing that stuff, but I mean, Alvarado does that to a lot of people. So, but yeah, I thought Ant had some really fantastic passes though in this game. What he didn't get credit for was a good cut by Repair, and he found him going to the basket. Repair got fouled, but they weren't in the bonus yet, and it wasn't a shooting foul, so didn't count in any stats for either player. But I thought
that's a good thing too, because we talked about Repair needing to cut more.
Yeah, and yeah, he also had a really nice pass to Tamani, who had a nice finish inside, and then the next play he tried to pass to Tamani again on a fast break, but they were both kind of in awkward positioning, like one in front of each other on a fast break, instead of running side by side, and so it didn't work out. It got passed out of bounds, but yeah, I don't know. Ant was fine in this game.
Yep. Ayton, any thoughts on him? Another efficient night, another good scoring night.
I mean, that's all he could do tonight, man. It seems like a horrible game for him, right? 20 and 8.
I know, yeah.
Seems like a bad game.
Low average all of a sudden when it would have been like his best statistical performance like 2 months into the season.
He had 14 and 4, I think, at halftime. Started off this game really well. We were finding him on seemingly every possession, and he actually had a couple of plays early in this game with Ant. One where Ant found him, he scored, and then the next play, Ant passed into DA, and then DA made a move, realized that he had attracted the defender, and kicked it back out to Ant for a 3. And it was just like there was like 4 or 5 plays in a row were just really nice sequences with Ant and Ayton playing a good 2-man game. And then in the second half, I don't know what it was. I don't know if New Orleans changed their defense around. This might be something that, as we were talking about with Banton, as teams start to scout how Ayton's getting his points, they did something at halftime because we just could not get Ayton the ball in good position in the second half. We barely passed to him. I think at least 4 of his 6 points. I'm trying to remember what his third basket in the second half was, but at least 2 of them were off putbacks, offensive rebounds. So,
yeah.
The other one was they had cleared out the side of the court and he was getting fronted and he sealed them, and they threw it over the top for a dunk. So that was a good play. A good job of finding him and getting him space. But But yeah, those were his 3 baskets in the second half. I just felt like we didn't do a good job of getting him involved in the second half. So it'll be interesting to see moving forward if that's something that teams are going to take away that pass to the mid-range, like the Pelicans were doing, or if the Blazers, it's just kind of like a weird flowing game.
I mean, but this is why Ayton isn't like an elite center. This is why he's still questionable on a max contract, because you still have to rely on other guys to get him involved a lot of times. He's not going to he's not a creator like that, not a ball handler like that. He's not a guy like Embiid who can get the ball at the 3-point line and, in and out cross and get to the rim. So that's kind of the point with Ayton, is he's had really impressive performances, but I feel like a lot of these shots, maybe defenses are willing to let him take, and he's played so well recently, I wouldn't be surprised as the Blazers play some better teams if they try and take away some of his shots around the mid-range that some other teams have been willing to give them, because it's not the most efficient shot for a big man to take. So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see that. But that's where he has to get his points in like putbacks and just hustle plays and that sort of thing. But it's just a different type of player, different type of center than somebody that you can just give the ball to at any spot on the floor and they can make something happen.
Yeah, I don't think it was necessarily, because we talked about this last stream, but how in the first half of the season he was not doing a good job of sealing his guy, and just like, he can complain all he wants about not getting the ball, but a lot of that was due to him. But in this game, I felt like they started putting a guy in front of him. And other than that one play he scored, they had help on the backside as well. And so I don't know if it was necessarily anything Ayton did wrong in this game. I think it's just a lot of things that had worked for Ayton getting the ball the last few weeks. Just in the second half, New Orleans made a conscious effort to take those away. And so the Blazers just have to find a way to realize that in some situations, in some games, especially when you start to be a winning team, you're going to have to make adjustments more often than they've had to these last 3 tanking years. So, just need to find a way to get him the ball, or do a better job of getting him the ball, or finding out a different way to get him the ball if it's not happening. And I didn't think they did a very good job of adjusting in the second half of this one.
Yeah. He has made Duop Reith obsolete, basically, which sucks, because Reith, before Ayton came back, was on a 5-game tear with performances of 18 points on 8 for 16 shooting, 12 points on 5 for 9, 26 points on 10 for 14, 16 points on 5 for 12, 16 points on 6 for 13. That's the 5 games before Ayton came back for Reith. It was easily the best 5-game stretch of his career. He was playing really, really good basketball. Ayton comes back, and his minutes obviously get cut. He obviously can't get a rhythm. Like, he scored 1 point in the last 27 minutes, right? Where, like, if he starts and plays 27 minutes, he's scoring more than 1 point. He's scoring at least 10, most likely, right? Pretty much every game he's started and played at least 20 minutes, he's had at least 10 points in. But last 27 minutes, 1 point for Duop Reith, 0 for 6. So that kind of sucks, and that's part of, like, you don't gotta freaking play Ayton 40 minutes in a game where we're gonna lose by 19. Or 38 minutes a game where we're going to lose by 19. I would like for them to play Reith a little bit more. If we're going to lose, might as well experiment a little bit with Reith next to Ayton and just go big. Like, I would like for them to keep Reith's confidence up, keep him playing well, especially if it's something where maybe he could have some trade value this offseason, because during that 5-game stretch, it was like, man, what team wouldn't want this guy as a backup center? And now this dude's a backup center, barely playing, and he's just complete non-factor.
Well, a team that values having their center play defense would not.
I mean, if you got a good defensive center and good perimeter defenders, he's a really viable offensive weapon when he's playing well.
Yeah, I mean, part of it is he's just not playing it, so maybe you can't force him to play good when he comes in.
I just think it's a clear correlation between his minutes getting cut so drastically.
I mean, I can't dispute this either. Tommy says, you mean before Reith got paid?
What day did Reith get paid?
I don't know.
It was before. Oh, I'll look it
I
up.
think it was before that streak.
I mean, Reith isn't the type. Reith doesn't seem like the type of guy to get paid and then just give up. I don't know what we're saying. Do a Reith contract. Duop Reith signed a 3-year. He signed on February 16th. So it was before this 5-game stretch, because this 5-game stretch that I was just talking about, best 5-game stretch of his career, was from March 1st to March 8th.
Nice. Take that, Tommy.
Yeah, so it ain't that. Yeah. Reith ain't the type of guy to get paid and stop playing well. I just think, he's definitely lost a rhythm. Obviously isn't playing as much, so he's more prone to having overnights, but
well, a little bit too, when you're coming off the bench and you're playing with Scoot in the pick and roll versus Anthony, the gravity is just not the same. They don't have to help off of Reith as much, so not only, going through that stretch, we talked about this with Banton, teams are starting to realize what Reith is based on some of those good performances, and they know if they just take away that 3-point shot and they just are a little conscientious of him putting the ball on the floor if he pump fakes that 3. It seems pretty easy to not give up a big game to Reith. And if Scoot's the ball handler and you're not really worried about him pulling up, you can kind of defend it in a way where you're not leaving Reith open. Whereas when he was starting and playing with Anthony, he was pretty much open on every time he popped, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's not a knock on Scoot. I'm just saying he's not there yet to where defenses respect him enough to leave that open. So hopefully someday he gets there. But most of Reith's minutes now are off the bench with the bench players versus, or if it's Banton or someone in with the bench lineup. Banton's not really passing the ball out to Reith either on those kickouts, so because he's trying to score almost every time. I don't think he's involved as much in the offense, and the minutes thing. It's hard to get in a rhythm when you're not playing a ton of minutes.
Let's talk about Scoot a little bit. 5 for 8, 5 for 6 from 2, which is good to see. That last layup he had is like. It looked a lot like, that dunk he had last year in the G League where the defender had his back turned, was running for him, and he, brought it up with one hand, tapped the ball, and then, dunked on him. You know what play I'm talking about from last year?
Yeah.
That last layup he had, he didn't dunk it, but he, loaded up in the same way, and
the ball looks so small in his hands.
I know. It was just kind of...
You're talking about, the double clutch one, right?
Yeah. His last layup in the fourth quarter, about 6 minutes left, yeah. But... He got a drive on a pick and roll where they were switching. So they were switching high, too. They weren't running drop against him. I think you're going to start to, or maybe I should have paid attention to this earlier, but I think he's more comfortable just against anything other than drop right now. I don't think he's going to get trapped or anything. He hasn't really had to deal with that at a super high level. But, they switch... I don't even know who that is. Robinson Earl onto him, and he beats him off the dribble because he's playing out the 3-point line, and he has the whole sideline. Had a couple transition buckets. Nice to see. He also had a layup where he just kind of dusted CJ, and CJ ran into his own guy. But the closer defenders guard him, the easier time he has getting downhill and getting to the rim. That's basically what I've been explaining all season. That's why he needs to make threes, get defenders out on him. But that also is a perfect example of maybe why he struggles with drop, because he's having to attack a big that's just waiting for him in the paint compared to, if it's a pick and roll where they switch high on him, it's a little easier to get by the defenders. So nice to see him have a good game, though. Wish he would make a 3 because he's been struggling a little bit with his shot, but I'll take a 5 for 6 game inside the arc.
Yeah, his first basket. So Alvarado was like hounding him in the backcourt, trying to keep him from getting the ball. He gets it and kind of shields him all the way down the court, keeps him behind him, goes all the way for a lane. I thought that was really good technique by him when you have a pesky defender like Alvarado to use your body and your strength to kind of shield him off once he's behind you, and don't ever let him get back in front. And then good finish inside. So yeah, he did have some positive things in this game. Still don't know what he's going to be defensively, but yeah, I didn't think this was like a terrible scoot game or anything.
Yeah, and then Tamani, I continue to love the way he's playing offensively, like that baseline drive and dunk at the start of the game. Impressive, good pass from Ayton. That's where defenders respecting his 3-point shot will give him more opportunities because he'll be able to attack closeouts and then hit a 3 where they just left him completely wide open. And as we've talked about, he's shooting the 3 ball well enough that teams shouldn't be leaving him completely wide open anymore. So got to keep cashing those in. Was 1 for 5 though, so not a good shooting night by his standards. But given how well he shot the ball lately, he was kind of due for a night where he didn't shoot the ball well.
I don't think his 3-point diet was bad tonight, even though he missed some.
Yeah, he has to take shots that are given to him, and sometimes he's not going to shoot super well, but just have to get that percentage up around 36, 37, 38%, so that defenses, as they come into a game against the Blazers, it's you can't leave this guy open. He's a 37% 3-point shooter, so hopefully this is just one of those off nights. Hopefully it's not the start of any sort of trend. We'll have to see though. But a couple of the drives he had were nice though. I like him when he's aggressive, going downhill.
Yeah, absolutely. And he had a really tough. I mean, I don't know what word I'm trying to look for. His matchups defensively. Part of the game he's trying to guard Zion, who's like super physical and just driving right at him every time. And then the other half of the game he's trying to guard Brandon Ingram, who's mostly pulling up from the mid range and shying away from contact. So I thought he did a pretty good job of handling both of them, even though both Ingram and Zion had pretty good games. I thought when Tamani was guarding him, he made it about as hard as possible on him.
Yeah. Any other players or any other things on any other players that you want to speak on?
I mean, Chris was a complete non-factor in this game. If you told me he didn't play tonight, I probably would have believed you, even though I watched the whole game.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not that he wasn't that bad, but it just didn't really have a huge impact either positively or negatively in this one, except for missing all 4 of his shots.
Do you think he's getting better?
I don't know. I mean, he's a role player at best in the NBA, so it's weird watching a role player who's never going to put up huge stats. Those kind of players, I think, don't necessarily look great on a bad team. So I'm not saying Chris would do well on a good team. I'm just saying it's just kind of, I don't know. It's hard to tell if he's getting better because there's not really, I don't know. There's not it's not like he's having an offensive outburst like Banton or Sharp did last year or whatever. It's not. He's not that type of player. So I don't know.
Yeah.
And then everyone else played. Well, Repair comes in. He was the first one off the bench with Jabari Walker, but he was at the scores table, first player off the bench scores table. So
yeah, I guess Single's better. I guess he's now actually available.
Good job, Chauncey, of putting him in the game first instead of Justin Minaya. Yeah.
Yeah, impressive stuff from Chauncey. All right, if you're done, we're ready for Tankathon, I guess. But first, let me thank BetUS for sponsoring this post-game stream.
BetUS, America's favorite sportsbook and casino. Live betting and racebook. We're celebrating 30 years with a historic offer. A 125% sign-up bonus on your first 3 deposits. Plus 10% gambler's insurance. Get started today. BetUS, where the game begins.
Alrighty, so there isn't much available in terms of, like, college basketball anymore. You can't bet on conference tournaments, obviously, because they're basically concluding. But what that means is we are basically one day away from being able to pick spread lines on March Madness games, which I'm really looking forward to. You can still get in on action for a couple conference tournaments games. UT Arlington Grand Canyon tonight. That's a conference championship game there. That's always fun. And then tomorrow, Yale versus Brown. You got Virginia Commonwealth versus Duquesne. Just some wild conference tournaments so far. Florida and Auburn are playing great. Wisconsin, Illinois. So you got some fun college basketball games tomorrow. These are all conference championship games tomorrow that you can get in on. But then I'm looking forward to being able to pick spreads and such on college basketball games, because normally I just focus on my bracket. Honestly, I've had pretty good picks in my bracket over the past 5 years or so. I feel like if I was betting spread lines, I would be a wealthy man right now. So if you want to test your luck with betting on basketball, whether it's the NBA or March Madness or baseball, as that starts extremely soon, so you can get in on some preseason stuff for baseball, make sure to use that sign-up link in the description box below. That helps out the channel. And then make sure you use promo code JOIN125 for 3 deposit bonuses of 125%. That means if you deposit 100, you get 125 extra dollars, and then a month later, if you deposit 100 again, you'll get another 125 extra dollars. So 3 bonuses. It's a great deal from BetUS, and they're trying to hook it up. There is a new NBA special. I haven't looked at this yet. Will Luka Doncic have another 70-point game this season? You can get plus 2,500 on that, Eric.
Jeez.
Plus 2,500 with a 125% deposit bonus. I mean, you guys could drop 100 on that with the bonus. That's an extra 125. So you could drop 225 on that. Only 100 of which would be your own dollars. And you could get like 5K if Doncic has another 70-point game. So if you want to check that out, all the information is in the description box below. Do you think he'll have another 70-point game? Well, that's a silly question. Would you take the plus 2,500 on him having another game? Is that good enough odds?
No, because I mean, I might put a few bucks on it, but the NBA officially came out and said that they did talk to officials about the way they call games, and fouls have been way down over the last few weeks, and offense has gone down. So I'd be hesitant to bet anyone having a 70-point game the way it seems like they're trying to curb scoring a little bit, at least for this season.
Smart man. That's why we keep Eric around, because he's big brain. That is very true. Luka can't free throw merchant his way to a 70-point.
I mean, he still could, but
yeah, I mean, Jalen Brunson had how many free throws on us last game?
I don't know. He had a lot.
It was like 17, so it still happens. Still possible. But,
although, do they play the Blazers again?
No.
I guess he wouldn't have to play enough, probably. Yeah.
Yeah, they'd probably blow us out. So, anyway, March Madness. Still can get it on some conference tournament games with BetUS. Link in description. Promo code JOIN125. 3 bonuses. Go ahead, Eric.
Speaking of March Madness, Tori, did you see what happened at the end of the Kent State Akron MAC title game?
No, I wasn't. I didn't watch that game, unfortunately.
So I just saw this. Kent State had a free throw with I think there was like 4 seconds left.
Yeah.
5 seconds left.
Yeah.
5 or 6 seconds left. Make the free throw, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they're up 1. Akron inbounds it, and the guy on Kent State intentionally fouls him, and they go to the line, hit 2 free throws, and win the game.
Why would he do that?
I don't know. Their coach was like beyond himself. Like, he walked off with his hands in his face, like just disgusted. Like,
I feel terrible for that kid, but also, how do you not know?
Or was he point shaving?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, that's well. I'll have to see that. I'll have to watch that.
It's not too far up in the GC if you want. But yeah, it's a horrible way to lose a title game, dude. And now
Lose
you're
a
not.
trip to the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
Yikes. That's bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll watch it. Let me load up Tankathon, and you can maybe speak on the lottery standings while I watch this, because I know I normally do, but I'll let you do it today.
Like what happened in the games today for lottery wise?
Yeah, just speak on the lottery. You know.
Well, Charlotte unfortunately couldn't win today. Golden State, however, did lose.
I love how it just spams the soundboard when I load the page. Although the no was perfect for Charlotte not winning today.
Yeah. So Golden State lost, so that's good, but looks like the Lakers are about to lose as well. Yeah, so Golden State stays in 13th. Houston wins. They have dreams of still making the play-in. They're 3 games behind Golden State. Would be awesome if they could catch them. I'm not holding my breath on that one, though. Everyone else is still kind of relatively in that same position. Atlanta and Utah are now tied for 9th. Brooklyn's pretty firmly there at 8. Memphis and Toronto tied at 6th. I don't think that Memphis game has gone final yet, so let's see.
Why did he do that? I just watched the clip. Oh my god, I feel sick. Memphis is going to lose, by the way.
Golden State's not going to lose. Sorry, they're going to win. They're going to beat the Lakers, yeah.
Unless they choke.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
I don't know why I thought it was 2 separate games, but I forgot they were playing each other. But yeah, so they're about to be tied with the Lakers for 14th.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that's a huge game because those two teams are chasing each other. I guess it only matters for home court in the 9 versus 10 playing game. Mm-hmm. Although then if the winner of that game loses the next game, then it does matter also for lottery positioning. But 13-14, not a huge difference. Yeah, Chicago, man, it would have been sick for Chicago to gain a win on them. They would have only been 1 win back. Would have been sick for Charlotte to gain a win on us. They would have only been 1 win back of us. So, anyway, could have been a perfect day for the tank race, but looking like it's not going to be so perfect. But let's simulate this thing. Let's scroll up from the bottom. 14 is the Pelicans. 13 is the Blazers. So far, so good. 12 is OKC. 11 is Chicago. 10 is Utah. 9 is Atlanta. 8, we got Memphis. Does that mean... Who's 8, Eric?
8 would have been Brooklyn going to Houston. Brooklyn's pick going to Houston.
Yeah, just as long as no more Toronto, we're good. We're good. 7, Toronto to San Antonio. And 6 is your Portland Trailblazers. Which means I need to play the sound clip. Because we get screwed again. We haven't had good luck lately, unfortunately.
Well, for 2 second stream in a row. The ones before that we did.
Well, I mean luck in terms of I want to win the thing. 5 is, of course, it's Detroit.
Ping pong balls.
It's always Detroit at 5. That's funny. 4, we got San Antonio. 3, we got Washington. 2, we got Charlotte, which means the number 1 pick goes to the Houston Rockets. That's like the second time in 3 or 4 streams that Brooklyn pick has moved up to 1. So congrats to the Rockets. They win the lottery. Alrighty. Any prospects you want to speak on real quickly before we wrap up the stream?
Is Cody Williams struggles? Are you just thinking that's because of injury, or are you starting to get worried about him?
I think it's partly due to injury. I mean, even when he was playing better earlier in the year, I think there's legitimate question marks about his body and his ability to create separation at the next level. And given he's been kind of banged up all year, I still like him a lot as a prospect, but he's no longer second on my board. I've dropped him to 6th. I like his archetype. The other question mark is, if he was shooting threes on volume, what would he be shooting? Yeah. Because he just shoots wide open threes. So it's like, in order to be that level of creator, right, you got to shoot some threes off the dribble. His brother Jalen Williams does. You know, he'll shoot a step back three, catch it in, shoot off a pick and roll, etc. So he has to do that, and we just haven't really seen that. I'm not saying he can't, because I feel like he could, but it's just tough without seeing it. So there's just little things that have caused me to drop him below a few guys, and that's not really being all that negative towards him. That's just, you know, a guy like Reed Shepherd has been playing amazing and super high floor with some sneaky upside, right? So moved him up above Cody Williams. For the Blazers, obviously, I'd rather have Cody Williams. What about you? What's your answer to your own question?
Yeah, I mean, it's weird because he's still a freshman and all that, so I don't think any of this is like necessarily dooming him to be this type of player moving forward. Obviously, if he has a work ethic like his brother, I wouldn't be worried about it at all. So, yeah, I'm not worried, but it's hard to keep putting him ahead of prospects that are having big moments in production right now. But I can't drop him too far because there's players like Ricochet and stuff like that who had a horrible game as well. So, like, I don't know.
I still have him ahead of prospects that have shown me less of an ability to create, which is Ricochet, which is Salon, which is, you know, like, I'm not going to put Keyshawn George ahead of him. Like, Keyshawn George is a wild card for me just because he had some games where he was non-existent for whatever reason. So, you know, like, he's shown enough creation to still keep him in the top 6 or so. But
well, a little bit is, I mean, KJ Simpson's playing so well. Tristan Silva's playing well. They don't really need him to take over games. And the same thing is, I think that's why it's hard to see exactly what Keyshawn George is, because, I mean, you got good players all over the court for Miami. They obviously had a very disappointing year, but they had high volume shooters on that team. That doesn't allow for a guy like George to get a ton of like creation opportunities. So yeah, I don't know. I still think the upside could be there, but it's hard to know exactly what they are without seeing them do it in that like number one role or anything like that. And then I was a little disappointed, you know, teams like Tennessee and Kentucky lost yesterday, just to not get to see them for a couple more games and stuff like that. But they'll still be in the tourney, so we still have that.
Yep. Instead, you got Florida and Auburn playing great basketball in the SEC championship for that.
And NC State's about to steal another bid from someone.
Yeah,
they weren't in the tournament, right? They were only like 19 and 14 or something.
Yeah, no. They'll so with them winning this game, it's very likely, in my opinion, that for the first time ever, a first 4 game is going to consist of 10 seeds. That's how many like lower seeds are going to conference champions from, you know, the ACC. If Oregon wins, they're also below the first 4 teams in terms of their resumes. So you could actually have both first 4 games that are for at-larges be 10 seeds, which would be kind of wild because Oregon's resume is not that impressive. They have to win to get in. Same thing with NC State. And NC State right now is up 9 over North Carolina, who was a projected 1 seed, the final 1 seed. But with North Carolina looking like they're going to lose this game and Iowa State blowing out Houston, it might be Iowa State as a 1 seed, which would be kind of crazy. So, Oregon's
resume isn't that bad, is it? Especially with beating Arizona yesterday, that probably bumped their net rating up a little bit.
They have 11 losses. I mean, they only have one. They're 1-4 against Quad 1A. They rank 61 in net, rank 58 in KenPom, 64 BPI. It's not better than teams like Colorado State, 37 in net, has 6 Quadrant 1 wins to Oregon's 3, right? Mm-hmm. Virginia is a little better just in terms of net ranking. It's just the lack of Quadrant 1 wins mixed with low metrics that has Oregon below at large. Right now they would be like next 4 out. They would probably be 6th, 7th team out. They're pretty much on par with Wake Forest. I do a lot of bracketology, so I have like formulas that kind of rank teams decently accurately, but I haven't seen anyone have Oregon in.
Yeah.
So they got to win this game. They're tied 37-37 against Colorado. So
is Dayton in even though they lost?
Yeah. They dropped down to borderline 8-9 seed.
Okay.
So
I just want Jerome to make it.
Yeah, no, I mean they're still 23rd in net. They have 3 Quadrant 1 wins, which is the same as Oregon, but they just rank much better analytically. Yeah. 5-3 against Q2 teams. So yeah, they got bumped with that loss. They could have been a 6 seed had they won their tournament, 6, maybe 5. So instead they'll probably play in an 8-9 game somewhere.
I think Duquesne won today, though. That's who they lost to, so they might win the championship for that league. But.
Yeah, that's one of those bids that bumped the first 4 games up to the 10 seed line.
But isn't that the conference that the top 4 teams all lost?
Yeah. Yeah, because VCU was
VCU, Duquesne, they're the 5th.
Yeah, VCU was the 5, and they were playing St. Joseph's, which was the 9, and they beat St. Joe's. Yeah. Oregon up 2. North Carolina and NC State were beefing. What's up?
Oh, and Oregon came back?
Yeah, they were up 5 at halftime. They went on a huge run before the end of the first half, and they just got an and 1 to go up 4 with a free throw coming. So, shout out to any Ducks fans that are watching this stream. I'm going to go watch the end of the Ducks game, the NC State game. Looking forward to that. This is going to be a record short stream, but we stream after every game no matter what. So I wanted to get you guys something today after the Blazers loss. Anything else, Eric, for this Blazer game, I guess?
No, I just don't know what to do with the rest of my night because I got no kids. My wife's at work, and yeah. Well, so it's weird. I can watch
more college basketball, and then you can watch some of your saved DVR tapes of college basketball games.
Well, that's probably what I'm going to do because I still have like 800 games on there.
That's funny. So anyway, appreciate you guys hanging out with us. The Blazers lose 126-107 in New Orleans. They got a game coming up on Monday as they take on the Chicago Bulls at 5 p.m. Eastern time. God, I hate these early start times. But we'll have that for you guys after Blazers Uprise Live, which will go live approximately 3:30 p.m. on Monday on our second channel. So 2 streams Monday. Gonna have a bracket picks video tomorrow. If you want to join my bracket pool, DM me on Twitter or message me on Discord. If you're not in our Discord, join with the link in the description box below. If you don't have a Discord account, make one, and then you can message me or tag me, or you can even email me blazersuprise@gmail.com if that's your only method of contact. But let me know if you want to join the $20 bracket pool that I run every single year. Shout out to BetUS for sponsoring this post-game stream. Once again, 3 deposit matches of 125% with our sign-up link in the description box below and promo code JOIN125. We'll catch you guys again on Monday. And with that said, we're out of here. We'll catch you next time. Until then, as always, peace out. Go Blazers.